So, good evening again. Lovely to see you. I'm Charlie the Wine, and you may remember we have done 3 very interesting video blogs on English Wine Week, where Kieran Atkinson from English Wine Project did a wonderful run from up in Newcastle down into Cornwall. Well, what better than to cross Offa's Dyke, and we're now going to explore Welsh wines. And we are I can't tell you how thrilled I am, because my mother and father, I can't find it unfortunately, my mother and father used to play this LP 45 day after day after day of this guy we're introduced to, his hymns and arias, all about Welsh rugby and whatever. So it's fantastic to have with us tonight Welsh legend, broadcaster, writer, entertainer, comedian,
wine connoisseur.
Ladies and gents, welcome Max Boyce. Max,
thank you.
Great to see you, live and in person.
Yeah.
So I gather your knowledge of Welsh wine is not great.
No, I mean, I've drunk a lot of wine, and I think I'm reasonably knowledgeable as you ought, not like you boys. But...
Well, I think we've got enough guys around us here tonight, Max, to educate all of us and to actually give us a really good insight as to how good Welsh wine is. And the first guy we're going to come to is my old mate, wine writer, broadcaster, Oz Clark.
Yeah.
So, Oz.
And partly Welshman.
Yeah, but you said you came from Gillingham in Kent last week, and you were in
Australia. And also from Yorkshire and Lancashire.
Max and I are about to become best friends, because when he left a message for me on the phone, he said, Owen.
You're my new best friend.
My new best friend, because my name isn't Oz. My name is Owen.
Right.
And my grandmother's family are all Owens from Montgomery.
Well, Oz, now we're all sort of intimate, good pals. Let's get stuck in to a glass of sparkling rosé 2017 from Montgomery. Max, have you got your bottles there with you, mate?
Yeah,
Good stuff.
So I know, Max, I know that you South Walesers sort of say, well, Montgomery's hardly Wales. Well, I have to say, Mr. Rob Merchant, Esquire, might say, well, how close to Wales is Monmouth then? If Montgomery isn't Wales, I'm sticking up for Montgomery being Wales.
Is it to say Montgomery? Is it Rosé? Montgomery. Rosé 2017.
That's right.
Charlie, unbelievably, has opened it without spraying it all over the ceiling. Yeah. I'm going to see if I can do the same myself.
I've loosened the cage, but I haven't opened it. I want to see what miracles what's in.
But because Max, you're a big wine drinker, aren't you?
I drink much too much wine, but sadly not Welsh wine. But
that's okay. I think the point is that this is a wonderful chance for us to actually change your mind with 6 fantastic wines.
I have to say that was very expertly done, Max. You've done that before.
Max, you and I love all you've stood for all these years. I love the fact that you're so closely involved still with the mining communities that you come from. I love the fact that you really believe in our local communities and you do everything you can to support them right the way through. Mm-hmm. I have to say there's one little thing that you and I share, an EMI recording contract.
Yes.
Yours lasted through a #1 hit and millions of records sold. Mine lasted a week.
That's about 7 days too long.
Squeeze out one song in a week, and they obviously listened to it and said that was a mistake. But I had for 1 week, I had an EMI recording contract.
Yeah, and I did.
Right. Okay. Well, now Max, you've got stuck into this? Just give us your opinion of this wine, and then Oz can talk us through it. Yeah. Hope so.
It's very good.
It is, isn't it? Very good.
It's absolutely smashing.
Very floral.
It's absolutely smashing.
Lovely colour, lovely mousse, good nose.
And I think what they've done is done this thing which the English are doing quite a bit in the West and the North as well, using Pinot Noir Précoce to give it a little bit of color. That's Pinot Noir, which just ripens a little bit earlier, and it's got a slightly darker skin, so it gives a slightly fuller color in somewhere like Montgomery, which is on the edge of where you can ripen these classic grape varieties, the red ones. And the Saval Blanc just is perfectly suited for giving lovely, bright, fresh, crisp, sparkling wines. There's one wonderful idea about what does Wales mean, and it was light, crisp, and different.
Yeah, yes.
Because that's what I like about Wales. It isn't the same as England. It's the soils are different, the climate's different, the people are different, the possibilities are different, and I think this is starting to show it.
No, this is lovely. I'm not a sparkling wine person, but this is lovely. I ordered the local rugby club, so I'll be ordering crates of this next week.
Great. Well, this is.
I tell you what, Max, they only made 580 bottles of this, so you better hurry.
Well, we'll drink that in a week, our lads.
But I think this is this shows how interesting Welsh wine can be, because this is planted at 900 feet.
Wow,
that's 250 meters. That's way higher than people say it's possible to plant grapes in England, although some people in Yorkshire might say, I'm not sure. There are one or two people over 200. This is high. And they've actually they've got 150-year-old hedges all around the vineyard. 150-year-old hedges. They've planted another 2,000 trees, but you stand in this vineyard and you look out over Montgomery and you just think, it's probably the Severn Valley you're looking out over there. And you just think, this is heavenly. It had to have a vineyard. And that's another thing about Wales. The vineyard is sorry, Max.
I mean, I know the land around Montgomery and Abergavenny is very alluvial, lovely soil, rural soil and farming soil. Does it not need chalk, southern-facing chalk hills?
Doesn't need it, you see, because this is glacial. This is flinty. Interestingly, flint is normally a precursor for chalk, but this is glacial soils. They're flinty, they're glacial. There is some clay underneath, but by the time it's on a slope like that, it's south-facing, so all that wetness drifts off. And when you look at some of the great potential sites in Wales, they're on those river valleys. There are several others. The Vale of Denbigh is the one. I just think Denbigh is the place that's going to make some fantastic wines. The Conwy River, even down the Aeron River down by Cardigan, which we'll be seeing in a minute. And of course, as Rob would say, well, Abergavenny to Monmouth, the whole of that area there, they have something special, and they have to have drainage. They have the chance to look south. Again, Rob might say have to have a chance to look south, except at White Castle, where he's got one looking north. But I must admit, I think this is a beautiful small vineyard. I think it'll get bigger, and I think it'll be very successful.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, Max. If you could delve under your table, and we're gonna drink the Montgomery Solaris. Now we're just going to try this. The white wine.
I got it. Yeah.
With the screw top. Excellent.
Yeah, got it.
Okay. So this is obviously from the same vineyard, same soils. But the Solaris grape, we don't see a great deal of Solaris oils, do we?
So Solaris is a grape. Yeah.
Yeah, Solaris is a grape which is really well suited to Wales, and it's also well suited to the north and the west of England. It was created, it's one of these created grapes, created in 1975, and it's one of those grapes that by the mid-September, you can ripen this in North Wales. So if you're worried about autumn winds and rains and stuff beginning to come in off the Irish Sea late in the season, Solaris is very early ripening, and it's very resistant to mildews. And it's also very resistant to frost. So all kinds of reasons that you'd plant it as a farmer, but it gives high sugars. And if you plant Solaris in somewhere like Germany, it tastes of nothing. But if you plant it somewhere nice and cool and slightly high, like Wales, you can get lovely fresh flavors. I've just smelled this. It smells like a Sauvignon Blanc.
It does. So, Max, have you had a chance to have a good sniff and a gulp of this? Because I think it's beautiful.
I call Sat Nav. I call it Sauvignon Blanc.
Are you a Sauvignon Blanc fan, Matt?
It makes me place I've never been before.
Trouble is, Sauvignon Blanc, if you're a rugby man, every time you have to think, the All Blacks drink Sauvignon Blanc. So shall we drink it or shall we not?
Well, it's New Zealand, isn't it? I mean...
But what about this? It's very crisp. It's elderflowery. It's nettly.
It's too flinty for me and too acidic, but this is lovely.
Is it? Okay. Well, of course, that makes sense. You're up at 900 feet there. The Solaris, 2018 was a lovely warm year, but I think, Max, that's the style of wine they're trying to make, because they're trying to impress people about they can make sort of New Zealand style or French style wines. Because Solaris often makes a wine with more fruit, with a more juicy quality.
This is much more fruity than a Sauvignon Blanc, I would know.
Yeah.
I was going to say also, I'm really impressed with this wine. I think it's probably one of the nicest Solarises I've ever had.
Yes,
also, it is so much like Sauvignon Blanc. That kind of that pepper, that cut grass is interesting. Kind of thing what they could do with a little bit kind of slightly different yeast and more time. You know, Solaris has only just really started to happen over here in comparison to Sauvignon. This could be a really special wine, I think.
I agree, because basically some people make Solaris a little bit sweeter, and that's nice because it has got some nice, slightly tropical, bright fruit flavors. But they've actually been quite adventurous here, and they've said, we're not going to do that. We're going to make it mainstream dry white wine. And
it's quite peppery, isn't it? It's quite peppery, quite surprising. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. I love that. I really, really like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, moving on now to Max. we really do need your help here, mate, because this is why. Because I don't want to embarrass myself pronouncing this.
Yes, I know.
You've got full permission to tick me off here, because we're now opening.
I think we should all have a try, Charlie.
Sorry.
I think we should all have a try to pronounce this. Then Max will tell us how to. Let's do the fizz first, Max.
Yes, absolutely, the fizz.
And I'm going to try and pronounce it. Sorry, I just made an awful mess of my shirt.
Right.
Actually,
Come on, Max, tell us how to do it.
I'm trying to find it. This is Llaeth Liw, yeah? No, what it is, this wine, alongside the vineyard runs a little brook, which at certain times of the year, the water appears to be milky colour. So Llaeth is milk and Liw is colour. So the wine gets its name from the stream that runs alongside the vineyard.
The Milky Stream.
Yeah.
Excellent. I love it.
Great name. And the vineyard is fantastic name. I mean, I've got it here somewhere. It's fantastic. Gwen Llian Llaeth Liw, Naia Lloyd, Clia Aeron, Llanbedr Pont Steffan, Cardigan. What a place to grow with.
I'd have to ask Rob what that meant, because Rob, do you because you not only make your own wine, but you actually help other people around Wales, don't you?
Yeah, I do a little bit of mentorship and just try and support Welsh wine and promote it as much as I possibly can.
What do you reckon on Cardigan Bay?
I think it's Cardigan Bay is a beautiful part of the world. I think it's and again, little pockets. You know, you can go 10 miles north, and it's a totally different countryside. You know, they've got a nice little pocket of ground in there.
And you know, in Cardigan Bay, there's dolphins there in the summer, and over the years, because it's such a Welsh-speaking area, the dolphins answer to calls in the Welsh language. They don't the English tourists. So I wrote a song for Welsh-speaking dolphins of Cardigan Bay.
Well, I'm delighted there are some English tourists over there. Anyway, let's open this and see what it is. See if I can do this without.
Rob, if you were planting a vineyard in Wales, obviously not White Castle, you can't choose your own. Where would be the best spot, do you think?
I think Monmouthshire would be the best county in terms of you've got the River Usk, you've got the Wye, you've got the Mono coming from the English side of the border. So as we spoke earlier on, you've just got that nice, rich area of well-draining ground. just a little microclimate, and then probably I'd move across towards Pembrokeshire from there.
And do you think Wales does still wines better than sparkling, or sparkling wines better than still, or do you think it's just because you've got less producers, you're kind of finding your way, what works best and what is the best thing to produce?
I think Ozzy alluded to it earlier on. What we are is a little bit different in the varietals that we're growing. So sparkling wines are made with Seyval, Phoenix, Seyval Orion, Solaris blends. So those sparkling wines are really good and different. And then some of the varietals that we grow for still wine, Pinot Noir, Precose, again, Solaris, as you've spoken about, the Phoenix, the Rondos, they're just good varieties that hold their own in the cooler climate and ripen a bit earlier. So they give us a great chance to ripen, and especially the Precose and the Rondo for red wines, we get a lot of hang time in, so we can manage the crops really well.
I was listening to Jack Evans, who is, I think, is the son of the. Okay, Max, here I go. Click Liu. Not too bad. Come on, stop laughing.
That's worse.
He's laughing. Practice my best. Come on, call me Owen, and I'll call me Owen.
You've done very well.
And he was saying if he gets a few more 2018s, it'll be like the Aeron Valley will be like the Napa Valley. I was thinking, not entirely sure about that.
Yeah.
But then I discovered, of course, this. I thought I knew this from somewhere. The River Aeron, because Dylan Thomas lived there.
Yeah, for a while. Yeah.
And he called it the most precious place in the world. And am I right or wrong, Max, when Llanrugb is Llanrugb?
Carregib is bugger all backwards.
They reckon it might be Newquay.
Yes.
Newquay's the town here. And then I discovered, again to my excitement, that under Milk Wood, Dylan Thomas was taken to 3 farms by a local vet, his friend, a local vet, and one was under something, one was wood something, and the middle one was Lakeview Milk Farm. So under Milkwood was named after 3 different farms.
Right, okay.
And he actually named his daughter after the River Aeron.
Aeron, yeah.
Well, I think this is lovely. Should we? But I think this, by the way, won, I think, the top prize at the Welsh Wine Awards last year, Rob, didn't it?
Yep.
Year before, I think.
I think it's so different from. Obviously, we're trying the wines of Gusbourne last week and traditional method, Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier. It's so nice to go off track and try something completely different with completely different nose. I kind of asked you the question about the consumer. I think the consumer, the layman, would love this wine. Great pressure, great wines, just really fruity. It'd be nice to have a bit more time, wouldn't it? A bit more aging.
Yeah, and it's very different from the Montgomery as well, which I'm delighted. It's why shouldn't it be? It's on the other side of the country.
Yes.
I want it to be different to the Montgomery.
Yeah.
Should we move on to the next one?
Yeah, let's go. Let's move on to the rosé.
Right. This is the Montgomery Rose.
Yep.
Okay.
This is the left view.
Yeah, the Caith Liw. Yeah, got it. Yeah, I got it.
Grape variety Orion and Regent. Okay, let's try this.
And Regent, again, is another of these fantastically interesting grape varieties, which I think the Germans have invented. It's normally the Germans. This is crossed with a wonderful grape variety called Chamborsang, which is, to my mind, a delightful grape variety, which is easy to grow in wet climates. They grow it in Virginia, for instance, in America. They grow it in the New South Wales in Australia, and it's got a lovely, excellent blackberry sort of flavour.
It's real hedgerow, isn't it, Oz?
Yeah, yeah.
Hedgerow, that's the word. Yeah.
That's a very good way of describing it. Yeah. Because as we were discussing earlier, that we get so hung up about the Provence light colour and whatever, and that we're told that's the best. But this is got a lovely colour to it, and
I used to call it the blush of the dog rose.
Blush of the dog rose.
Max.
Lovely, Max. Love it.
Max,
You
you're
don't
a
want to talk as a
natural.
wine writer, do you? You can't write the tasting notes for my next book by any chance.
Yeah.
Blush of the dog rose. That is a beautiful way of putting it.
I'm going to have to take Oz to our tasting session so he can describe our wines for us.
Yeah,
'Cause
well,
I think that
Yeah, Max.
I think that that rosé pink is going to be one of the most important things that England and Wales make in the next 5 or 10 years, and I think this is a really good example of how to make it.
oh, it's lovely.
It's delicious, isn't it? Beautiful
Ooh.
weight.
Should
Lovely
we move
fruit.
on to Rob's wine, Charlie?
Yep, absolutely.
God, you're
Okay, Rob. This is the moment of truth.
Cheers.
Which one is this?
So here we have the White Castle
Oh, right, I got it.
Brut Sparkling Wine 2017. And we're delighted we've got the man here, Rob. So let's just
Oh no, the wrong one. Hold on.
see if we can avoid spraying this all over
White Castle.
the kitchen floor.
Right, I'm going to have another crack at this. You're going to have a lift off in a minute. Come on, boy. I'll come to my word.
Oh,
There you go.
hey,
Another brilliant effort there, Max. Love that.
a bit more lively than mine.
A fizz is spot on, Rob. It's beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Montgomery.
Now, Rob, you've used Sauvignon Blanc as your base, have you?
Yes. Yeah.
With Phoenix to help to add a little bit of lift and fruit and
Yeah. For me personally, we grow Phoenix, and I just
Cut out there, Rob.
because I must say I think this is the third of these sparkling wines, completely different than one before. I love the fact that it's slightly more savoury. It's softer than the clay.
And the other bottle.
You've got me in it here. Well, all my Montgomery family are going to be watching this. You know, come back more often and learn how to speak the language.
Yes, the linguist.
Well, do you know what I love about it? It's how fresh it is. It's
Yes,
so clean.
absolutely. It's
fresh.
superb.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Have we lost Rob for the moment? Rob, are you frozen?
Let's see. Let's keep going.
I think he's gone.
this is yet another example of absolutely tremendous sparkling wine. Now, one of the things that Wales should be very good at, because despite everything, we think of Wales as being a little bit cooler, a little bit damper. Some of the vineyards are a little bit higher. Now, but Rob would actually contest this. Rob would actually say at White Castle. Now, this is just outside Abergavenny.
Yeah.
It's the White Castle Vineyard. It's a fantastic vineyard site. And Rob, here you are, old chap. Tell us why. Tell us why this particular vineyard site is special.
I think where we are, we're just in the bottom of that valley that is sandstone based. There's a fair bit of sandstone around us, rock shelves. And for me, that's great in terms of it retains a lot of heat and moisture that is free draining, but also always stays a little dampness for the roots in dry periods.
But Rob, tell me more than that. Come on, I know you. You and I've been having a good old chat. You've been doing your weather and climate reckonings.
Yeah.
Rob tells me that the area between Monmouth and Abergavenny, of which he is bang in the middle, is because of climate change, is just entering into the mid-range of the climate in Chinon in the Loire Valley in France.
Yeah.
Which makes wonderful sparkling wine.
So we had I had some weather data overlaid from Chinon, 10 years of weather data to overlaid to 1 square kilometer radius of where we are, and just started looking at the way the climate change is working, and it was pretty impressive, really, in the way that the temperature is changing. And from that, we've planted Cabernet Franc, but for us, this is the sparkling just not what we set out to do.
Yeah.
But I'm really pleased with this one. This is nice.
Rob, how
I
is
tasted this with you I tasted this with you last summer, and I thought it was very good. It's much better now. It's
Yes.
really gained character. Is that
Yeah.
do you think these Welsh wines that you're making need an extra year or two, or rather they don't need it, but they really can carry some extra aging?
Yeah, I think they can, because as we just spoke earlier on about the wines we've tasted, we've got that climate that gives us that little bit of acidity. And if you manage the acidity at harvest time well, then your wines will carry on for a while, and there's no need to rush them out to the public. Just sit there tight.
It's the flavor which I like on this. It's a beautiful flavor. Again, I think this is wonderful. We've had 3 wines: one from Montgomery, one from Cardigan, and one from Monmouth. And I think it shows Wales can make wonderful, individual, different sparkling wines.
Absolutely.
Should we?
Rob, how long in the secondary fermentation did this wine have?
This went into bottle April 2018, and so it's a 17 vintage. Into bottle to April 2018, and this was disgorged for probably Christmas time. So it's just been sat around for a while.
It's really nice. The lovely nettly fresh fruit flavors. It's beautiful, Rob. Well done.
Well done.
Okay, so could we now move on to our 6th and final wine, Max? We're going to try the White Castle Vineyard Pinot Noir Reserve.
Right, got it.
Which
with his corkscrew.
He's well prepared. He's well prepared, his boys. Well prepared.
This is the one, by the way, I spilt all over the floor just now. So
well, that's tough, because I've got all of mine.
Tell you what, Rob, I'm not going to pour that one away. I'm going to keep that for later.
Thank you very much.
Right.
So Pinot Noir.
I tell you one thing, Rob. When I opened this Pinot Noir Precoce of yours, do you think that opening the wine and decanting it, or just giving it air, is a good idea?
Yes, I do. Yes, for me, I'd like to leave it in a decanter 30 minutes, 40 minutes, just to let it just open itself out a little bit, and then I think it develops.
Because I opened this nearly an hour ago, probably. It's much sweeter now.
Yes.
I know I've been pouring it all over the floor, and I've had to scoop it up and put it back in the bottle, and it's got a slight flavour of Mansion House polish about it, which it didn't have before. But after an hour open, it's sweeter.
Yes. Yeah.
Lovely. Max, what about this? Do you like this?
I'm just going to try it now.
Oh, that is delicious.
Very mellow, very lovely, very fruity. Plums, blackcurrants, it's lovely.
And it's Welsh. It's your own red wine. The country of the Red Dragon has got a red wine. It's fantastic.
Rob, have you given us the last kind of 4 or 5 bottles left in Wales? Because this is absolutely beautiful. I imagine.
No, we've got a little bit left, and it's quite interesting. We're just starting to started releasing a little bit of the 2018, which is, I think is even more interesting than this. To be honest, this is good, but 18 is even more interesting.
But I have to say, Rob, if you don't mind me mentioning it, I was down last year with you, and you opened a bottle of this 2012.
Yeah.
And I thought, damn it. Whatever that, Max, what's that in Welsh?
Well, damn it.
Damn it.
On television, yes.
It's okay. They won't know what you're talking about in England, but they might get upset in Wales. But the point is, the 2012 had become, I hate to use this term about British wines, English and Welsh wines, because I don't want to talk about the French. We're different. We're doing a wonderful different thing, but it did taste like an old Burgundy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've had a couple of bottles, 13, 14 lately, and it's amazed me the way that it's holding up, to be honest. And I suppose there's no real records of that in the UK at the moment. You know, it's red wine, decent red wine production is been pretty scarce.
And of course, can I say, this is something about Wales. That was a 2012. England got hammered by the weather in 2012 and hardly made, most areas didn't hardly made a bottle. Did you in Wales manage to make some decent stuff in 2012?
Yeah, we did. We got a region that is absolutely stunning. That it's our latest variety, and it's always a risk. It's pushing it right to the end of October, but the weather just changed. I was ready to put it into a bit of brandy, really, and when we harvested it and we done some analysis on the grapes, it was just, to be honest, I call it Nicola's wine, because I was in work in them days, and I came home from work and she'd harvested, her parents had harvested 1.5 tons of grapes that afternoon, and it just made an absolutely stunning wine. And when I took it to the winemaker, he just went, "Wow, I can't believe, we're going to be making a red wine with this, given the climate and that season's growing, if you like."
Well, I think it's another point, but Wales is different to England, because England struggled in 2012, and you guys seem to have made some beautiful wines there. And to have a Pinot Picos like that, it's now 8 years old. I reckon it could last another few, and I reckon this one is as good or better than the one you made then.
Thank you very much, Oz.
I think that's a perfect time, to finish on that wonderful wine, to say this has been immense fun. And as a guy who's been in the wine trade for 40 years, I've learned so much about how wine is made in England and over in Wales. And what I think we all get from this is the massive enthusiasm and dedication to the job that people are really trying to do. And, it's been absolutely fabulous. But Max, I'm afraid I've got to ask you a big favor.
Mm-hmm.
Big favor. Because your mate and my mate sent me a podcast, I don't know, about 6 weeks ago, of you reciting a poem.
Oh, yeah.
Just the Tide Went Out. Because we've got you here celebrating Welsh Wine Week, would you do us the great honour of reading that poem for us?
Yes, please.
I would love to, because there's a bit about drinking it, so it gives it a certain amount of It was written obviously at the start of the pandemic, and I was coming home from Swansea through Mumbles, and the tide was right out in Mumbles, and I thought, well, at least we're all staying in, but at least the tide goes out. So I wrote this when just the tide went out. Last night, as I lay sleeping, when dreams came fast to me, I dreamt I saw Jerusalem beside a tideless sea. And one dream I'll remember as the stars began to fall was Banksy painting Alun Wyn on my neighbour's garage wall. And dreams like this sustain me till these darker times have passed, and chase away the shadows no caring night should cast. But times like this can shine a light, as hardship often can, to see the best in people and the good that is in man. And I'll remember Swansea with nobody about, and the shops were closed like Sunday, and just the tide went out. And I remember Mumbles with a harbour in its keep, and the little boats at anchor that fish the waters deep, and heard the seabirds calling as the gulls all wheeled about, but all the town was sleeping now, and just the tide went out. And when these days are over and memories remain, when children painted rainbows and the sun shone through the rain, and I'll remember nurses who stretched at all the pain and hope the carers never see a time like this again. And I'll remember Swansea with nobody about, and the shops are closed like Sunday, and just the tide went out. And I prayed that time for Boris when he knocked on heaven's door, and I thought of voting Tory, which I'd never done before. And though the sun is shining now, I have no immediate plans, so write a book on staying in and ways to wash your hands. But I'm still here in lockdown, more weeks of staying in, and I'm running out of vodka now, So I started on the gin. And my neighbours are complaining. I've heard them scream and shout with the noise the bins are making when I take the empties out. And I remember Swansea with nobody about, when the shops are closed like Sunday and just the tide went out. When all this is over and our fragile world survives, I hope that God is caring now for the ones who gave their lives. And I pray we'll find an answer, for my faith is cast in doubt. And God draws back the heavens and all the stars come out. And I'll remember mornings with nobody about, when the shops are closed like Sunday and just the tide went out.
Max,
Brilliant.
brilliant. So you won't be needing to put in the old empties of gin and vodka, right? You'll be putting Welsh wine bottles out from now on, won't you?
Daith liw, or as
Excellent. Well, guys, thank you so much. It's been absolutely brilliant to have you on board, Max, and Rob giving us some real insight with Welsh wine. I mean, we've been very impressed, haven't we, guys? So it's been great fun, but please remember to remain forever thirsty.
Yes, absolutely.
Forever thirsty.
Forever thirsty.
See you again.
I shall educate
that.
Getting Wales to Welsh wine.
Diolch, Max.
Diolch.